Hey, what's up? Welcome to my channel. Yeah, I still hate doing intros. I'm still not good at them. Okay, what else should I say? Hey, what's up? Welcome to my channel. I should say something in between. Welcome to my channel. Hey, what's up? But what would I even say? I hate intros. Dumb. So I don't usually do things in this order of operations. I have already filmed the entirety of this vlog like 2 months ago. Send help. Send help. So I never filmed an intro. Or if I did, editing Brittany didn't consider it an intro. And so here we are. So when I read these books, my intention was to read them and then post the video either the week before or the week of their release. So they could be like, hey, new releases to watch out for. That is still going to be the title of this video-ish. But the books came out end of March, beginning of April. It's May. We're almost midway through May. When I tell you I have an alchemized vlog from Christmas, a Crescent City vlog for winter, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just here. I'm just hanging out. I'm just doing whatever the heck I'm doing, apparently. So my intention was to post that vlog right before or as those books were coming out, and I did not do that. So anytime I say arc or watch out for these books, if I say that, or anything that makes it seem like they're not out yet, they are. I'm lazy. I'm a procrastinator. It's my worst habit. It's one of my worst habits. So all of the books are out. They are free to the public. Some of them have been out for nearly 2 months at this freaking point. So I hope you enjoy. Have fun. Stick around maybe. There's like a There's a subscribe button or something down there. So the first book that I'm reading is Only Spell Deep by Ava Morgan. This will be my third book from Ava Morgan. I was actually able to get ARC copies of the first two somehow, someway. I think I requested the first one and they've just been sending me her books ever since. I don't know. So I read The Witches of Bone Hill, which I gave 4 stars, and The Bane Witch, which I gave 3.5. What's wild is I actually don't remember much about The Witches of Bone Hill. I'm sure if I looked at the synopsis, I would remember. But The Bane Witch, I do randomly think about, and I'm like, is there ever going to be like a second book after that? Or like, what are we doing here? I obviously enjoy her writing, at least a little bit. Or else this wouldn't be my third book of hers, you know? So this book is introduced as Rebecca Meets the Craft. And I've never read Rebecca, but I have watched The Craft multiple times. I like that movie a lot. And I am sort of getting the vibes from that. The fun of falling into the dark side. Darkness, the rush and intensity that you can get when you're doing something that may be considered not great before like you nosedive off a cliff and then you regret everything. Like those are the types of vibes that I'm getting right now in this moment in time. So what the book is about, it follows this woman named Judith Cole, and there are flashbacks. It showcases her memories as flashbacks, but you don't have actual flashbacks. Does that make sense? It is set in present tense though, predominantly. So the book follows Judith Cole, or Jude Clark, in the modern day. But Jude has always had magic. But when she was younger, her mom made her hide it for some reason. Until one day, it literally exploded out of her and killed her entire family. Wild. Now she's living with a fake name. She's hiding her identity and just kind of letting life pass her by. Going to a job that she doesn't care about. She's very close to like no longer being around, if you catch my drift. Until one day she gets this mysterious invitation that invites her into a world of magic and secrets. This group of magic users that extend the invitation to her call themselves the Fathom, and they may be more dark and twisted than Jude ever realized. All of this that I just told you is in the synopsis. And the synopsis goes on to say even more, like almost essentially gives a summary of the entire book. I just gave you the first couple paragraphs. And if you are interested in knowing what happens or you want to know what the rest of the synopsis is, I will leave that to you to decide. But even I don't want to read the synopsis, and I always read a synopsis. I don't care about going into books blindly. But as I'm sitting here, I'm like, damn, tell me the whole story, why don't you? Like, leave a little bit to the imagination, please. You know, getting back to the story, it's promised that there is going to be a gothic atmosphere. It blends horror, fantasy, and mythology, and also showcases feminine rage. So it sounds fun, it sounds like a good time, and I will come back to you with a 50% update. So, it's been a while, and I am back with a 50% update halfway through the book date. I started this book probably about 2 weeks ago. It's slow moving for me, and I don't know if that's the fault of the book or if it's just because I've been also reading other things on the side, things that are in my 26 for 26, so I'm more excited about that. I will find out in the last half of the book because I'm going to focus on this book at this moment in time. There is definitely a darker atmosphere at play here. It's set in modern day Seattle, but you almost feel like you're in the underbelly of the city. Like there's a slight darkness, a slight dankness feeling throughout the book. Jude wants answers because she doesn't fully understand her magic or why her mom doesn't want her to use her magic or didn't want her to use her magic. And this Fathom group is kind of teasing her and dragging her along without actually revealing anything. They're like, I'll tell you something. If you do this, I'll give you a little bit more information if you now do that. Prove yourself to me. Why you should be in this group. Like, girl, you came to me. Why do I have to prove myself to you? I'm not a huge fan of the way the group is moving, and a part of me doesn't understand why Jude is putting up with the things that they're making her do to pass her initiation. But, I mean, another part of me does understand because she wants answers. She wants to understand her magic, the things that have happened to her in her life have happened. Actually, I said it earlier, why she was able to kill her entire family on accident. Again, that's not a spoiler. It's in the synopsis. I told you this already. There is a love interest in this story. He is a bookshop owner that she's kind of talked to here and there. And I was super is a strong word. I was interested in that love story for probably like 45% of the book, and then all of a sudden we went from 0 to 100 in the blink of an eye. I was actually shocked. I was like, whoa. Because they've had like a few conversations, and now they're in the book stacks getting naked. I'm at 48% of the way through right here. She's had like 3 scenes with this guy, and hey, I don't judge. You know, you want to do things with somebody you just met, that's up to you. But don't make this out to be like some love interest type thing, because that's not love at all. I'll also say that this book does have a lot of heavy topics that it deals with. Well, predominantly 2 heavy topics that come to mind that are big in the first half. And I kind of mentioned one in the introduction of this book, if you remember correctly. I said that she didn't what did I say actually? Want to be around much longer. I think that's what I said. I don't remember if that's what I said, but that is one of the things that is mentioned, but it's mostly just that first couple chapters. And it's not like focused on, she's just preparing herself, essentially. The other thing is very much dropped in sporadically here and there, and I will not be discussing it or giving you a hint, but it is in the trigger warnings. So pay attention to like the content warnings at the beginning of the book. It's freaking sad. No, freaking isn't strong enough. It's fucking sad and messed up. All in all, I am interested so far. I am halfway through the book. I'm not wowed by anything. And where I'm standing with Ava Morgan's books right now, the 3 that I've read, well, this is the 3rd one. I think this one might be the one that I'm the least interested in. But that's just because I want to know what's happening. I'm intrigued. I'm interested in seeing this darker magic and what happens there. But I'm not just super invested in the characters. And I think I'm a pretty character-driven person. So that might be why it's not fully capturing my attention at this moment in time. I will see you at the end, probably. I think that's how I'm going to structure this video. I'm going to do like the intro, introducing the book, a 50% of the way through update, and then my final thoughts for each book. Okay, I have a lot to update you with, so let's get started. I hope the lighting's okay. I didn't really try super hard. So my final update for Only Spelled Deep. Unfortunately, it's probably my least favorite out of the 3. I did give it 3 stars though, so it's kind of just an average book for me. Unfortunately, I never felt connected to any of the characters. They were kind of just there. Also, I found it odd that when something big happened to these characters, we were supposed to be like, oh no, like it was some big thing. And like, we've had 3 scenes with these people. I'm not deeply saddened at their loss. I actually don't care, which might be mean, but like, There was never a point in time where I felt connected to these people. I never cared if they lived or died. So if something did happen to them, I'm like, oh, that sucks. That's sad. When it comes to the main romantic relationship that we had, that I said I was originally enjoying at first, we went from 0 to 100 real quick. Like, real quick. I really enjoyed their relationship at first, like I said, but all of a sudden we went full throttle, and I was left questioning how and why. Like, they have had just a couple of scenes together now, and then next thing you know, they're professing their love forever, and I'm just like, okay, sure. The concept was really cool. There were goddesses, blood magic, there was feminine rage. Like, sign me up. That sounds like a great time. And the atmosphere was 10 out of 10. It was gothic and dreary, and I genuinely felt like we were in the underbelly of Seattle at some points. And you could almost feel the dankness in the atmosphere. And that was a really cool feeling. I enjoy the gothic fantasies and the dark fantasies. And if you can make me feel like I'm in a setting, then that's even better. I love that so much. And this book definitely delivered there, but everything else kind of fell flat for me. If you are a fan of Ava Morgan's work, then you'll probably love this. If you loved The Witches of Bone Hill, at Bone Hill, or The Bane Witch, then you'll probably love Only Spell Deep. And honestly, the cover's kind of cool. And again, the concept was cool. So I would recommend this if you are a fan of her work, or if you like stuff with goddesses and that has a slight darkness to them. But if you're gonna check out Ava Morgan's work, I would definitely recommend The Bane Witch. Arc number 2, The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst. Let me just start off with saying that I finished the book already. Oops. I read this book in 24 hours. And if I had read it in one sitting, I probably would have finished the entire thing at that moment. But, work exists, and I kept getting called away to do my job. But this is definitely a finish in 24 hours type of story. It was a really easy read. Before I go into that, let me tell you what this book is about. So, Sarah Beth Durst is also the author of The Spell Shop and The Enchanted Greenhouse. I have never read either of those, but I do have a copy of The Spell Shop right now, so that's probably going to be my next read because of how much I loved The Faraway Inn. This book follows 16-year-old Kalisa. And now, I don't read a lot of YA books. I am double the age of Kalisa, so we're not in my wheelhouse. But I found myself really enjoying this book. You know what? Again, we're gonna get to it. Okay, the book. So Kalisa she just finished her junior year of high school, and she found her boyfriend cheating on her. And so looking for a fresh start, a way to get over her ex-boyfriend, help her focus on something else, she goes to her aunt's inn in Vermont called the Faraway Inn. She goes there to help her aunt with this cozy bed and breakfast that she runs. But when she gets there, she finds out that the inn is very run down. The roof has holes, the porch has holes, vines and plants are taking over the land and growing on the house. And there's only a couple of guests there. And when she gets there, she finds out that her aunt doesn't want her there at all. In fact, her aunt tries to immediately send her packing. She said, "You gotta go." Kalisa finds a way to talk her aunt into letting her stay for a couple of days. And with the help of the cutie little groundskeeper, who's only a year older than her, she starts fixing up the inn and bringing it back to life. The only thing is, there's something odd about the few guests that are staying there, and her aunt and the groundskeeper are keeping secrets from her. So that's the premise. Halfway through, I was already obsessed with the world that was being built here. I thought it felt so cozy and kind of fun to be in this worn down inn with these kind of odd people that were staying there. There's all these little mysteries that are spread around, and Kalisa's trying to piece everything together because she's not being told anything at this point. Everybody is keeping secrets from her. Her aunt wants her gone like yesterday. And she's like, "Listen, I know something weird's going on here. I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on." The budding relationship between her and Jack is really fun to watch, and he's trying so hard. He doesn't want to keep secrets from her, but he's also terrified of her aunt. And he's like, listen, I don't know. Why is that teapot floating in the air? Batteries. Why does that closet open up to a spinning void of nothingness? I'm pretty sure that was your imagination. You know, the wind is blowing through the closet. I don't know. It's kind of funny to watch him try to come up with lies for what's going on in the inn. And she's like, right, the spinning closet void is because of wind. Sure, that makes sense. It's just a nice change of pace because the last YA book I read, my basement door just slowly opening by itself was terrifying. But it was my cat. I just couldn't see her. I can't tell you the last YA book that I read because, again, I stay away from that genre. But this book is kind of making me excited about them. It's just really sweet and cute. I thought a nice little change of scenery would be good because I don't want to film 3 clips in the same exact spot. If you can see, you can. Just kind of ignore like these last 2 shelves. They're a mess. I don't have room for anything else. So my final thoughts on The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst. This book was so cute and warm and whimsical. I truly loved everything about this world, and while this was my first Sarah Beth Durst book, it will not be my last because I definitely plan to jump into the rest of the books that are related to this world. And while The Faraway Inn doesn't appear to be related to the Spell Shop or the Enchanted Greenhouse, I will absolutely be reading those books. You could have told me that The Faraway Inn was book 3 in the Spell Shop series and I would have believed you, but it doesn't appear to be that way according to Goodreads. And this just seems to be, I don't even know if it's set in the same world. I've never read the other 2 books. I will be reading those 2 books next. Like a book cover wise, it's giving the same vibes as the Spell Shop and the Enchanted Greenhouse. Are they set in the same world? I don't know. If the Spell Shop and the Enchanted Greenhouse are set in our world, then yes. Although it doesn't even have to be set in our world because of the plot and The Faraway Inn. Because in The Faraway Inn, you get to travel to a multitude of places. That being said, I would love to go to The Faraway Inn at any point in time. So if somebody has the hookup for that, let me know. Where can I make my booking at? Where can I book my reservation? Also, how do I go about getting a pessimistic mirror and a Steve? And if you're confused on those 2 things, you should read the book. The pessimistic mirror is pretty straightforward. Steve is a dragon, kind of. A lizard? He's kind of her pet. Do I recommend this book? Abso-freaking-lutely, especially if you loved Sarah Beth Durst's previous books. If you really like cozy fantasy, absolutely this book. If you are a YA fantasy person, absolutely this book. I ended up giving this book 5 stars. I didn't expect that. I thought it was probably going to be a 3-star at the most because it's YA. But I'm so happy I read this book. Sarah Beth Durst might be a new lookout author for me. It's very early to speak on that. It's been 1 book, but it's possible. And I would love that so much. Okay, so the 3rd book that I'm reading in this vlog is called The Book Witch by Meg Schaefer. I've never read a book by Meg Schaefer, so I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, but I am halfway through and I have thoughts. But first, let me introduce the book to you. And if my voice sounds like unused, it's because I've probably said 10 words today and they were all to my cat. He's here. There's my girl. Hello, baby. I love you. I'll leave it like this so you can see her. This book is about a fun kind of magic. I love her. I love her so much. Rainy March. And her and her family are known as book witches. And what book witches do is they can jump into any story. And while they're there, they kind of try to fix things because there's also these other type of people that can jump into books called burners. And the burner's sole purpose is to go into these books and screw everything up. Because if they screw something up, or if the fictional characters realize that they're fictional characters and they can leave their books, then these books are forever erased from history. And so these book witches go in, try to fix what the burners have done or battle the burners to get them out of the books. They also bring back fictional characters that have escaped from books and take them back to their stories. Sounds super interesting. There is this series that Rainey is obsessed with called The Duke of Chicago. She was madly in love with this fictional character when she was a teenager, which I think if you are an intense reader, there is probably a fictional character you have connected to at some point and you were just, I love this being so much, right? Okay, but she can go into their stories and interact with them. The jealousy that I feel is sickening. So Rainey's grandfather goes missing on a mission, and she thinks who better to help her solve this mystery than a Duke of Chicago who is a detective that she happens to be madly in love with, right? Okay, that's the premise of the story. I said I'm halfway through. Let me give you my starting thoughts. When this book started, I thought the magic world, the concept of the magic was super intriguing because who doesn't? Actually, I've heard people say they would never. I'm not one of those people. I would absolutely love to go into some of my favorite stories and interact with my favorite characters. Are you joking? Absolutely. That'd be so freaking cool. The concept is there. I love that. It immediately starts out and she has to go into the Duke's story to fix something that a burner is messing up with. I'm keeping this spoiler free, so I'm trying not to say too much. So Rainey is supposed to be like in her mid-20s. She's like 25, 27, I don't remember. She has the mentality of like a 16-year-old. She's like, well, no, I'm not supposed to do all these things. They're against all of the rules. But if I hang out with the Duke of Chicago, like, it's not a big deal. Even though it is, and I know it is. So just the way she acts is pretty juvenile, and I'm just kind of like, I think I'm too old for this, but her character is only supposed to be a few years younger than me. It just kind of there's rules in place for a reason, and to just blatantly ignore the rules right off the jump of the start of this book, kind of then it's like, well, what's the point? Why are there rules? Because obviously it doesn't matter. Like, you have to showcase that there's consequences for these rules or these actions, and you can't just be all willy-nilly about things. And is what I'm saying making sense? There are consequences for her actions. I will say that. Barely. Okay, so let's give a halfway update now. Where I'm at now. I'm not having fun. I'm not enjoying it at all. And a part of me thoroughly wants to DNF this book. Which is sad because it's an arc. I don't like DNFing arcs. I've only DNF'd one other arc. I do not want to DNF this book because it's an easy read, but it's so juvenile. I'm surprised that the character is supposed to be in her mid-20s because she comes across as very teenager-ish. So like, maybe if you're younger, you would like this book. I am over the mindset here, to be honest. Also, and it's not even just her actions that are childish, but the dialogue is a struggle. The dialogue is a struggle. I'm fighting for my life. I've been reading it for about 3 weeks now because I don't want to read it. I'll get like a couple pages in and I'm like, whew, thank God that's over with. Like, I don't want to do it anymore, which I should just DNF it, but again, I don't want to. So I'm pushing through, which may or may not be a horrific idea. I could seriously slump here. I'm also reading Crescent City right now. I'm mainly focused on Crescent City. So that's keeping me going. I just don't want to read it. I don't want to read it. It's horrible if you do these things. But I'm going to turn around and do these things. And guess what? It's not actually that horrible. Not that big of a deal. And so I'm just kind of like, what's the point? What is the point? There isn't one. And I cannot stand the conversations between Duke and Rainey. They are just dumb. They're so dumb. Horrible. Stupidly dumb. I should stop before I just continue to trash this book because that's how I'm feeling at this moment. I don't want to read these people's conversations. I don't want to listen to these people's conversations. I don't want to know these conversations are being partaken in. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Don't mind me. I had my hair cozied up like this. Can you hear the wind? It's insane. So final thoughts for The Book Witch because I finished it. It was alright. I will say that at about 60% of the way through, it did get a little better. I was more interested in the storyline that was happening because the book is what I learned. It's a nested book because, and this isn't a spoiler because it happened, it's something that I guess they can do. You can jump inside a book from inside a book. I've never seen Inception, but it's giving like Inception vibes or something. Because like she can jump from into one book, and then from in that book, you can jump into other books. So that aspect made it really interesting. But the juvenile dialogue continued. I actually couldn't stand reading the conversations between Rainey and Duke. I could have done without it entirely, to be honest. And I will say another thing about their relationship is there's insta love, and then there was this. Like, she was already in love with him because he was a fictional character. He looked at her and he was ready to be, like, he was down bad forever. Deeply in love, wanted to marry her. And I don't say that in like a joking way. Like, he genuinely, they were deep in love from like page 2, which is really gross to me. I hate that so much. This is like insta love times 10 to me. All of his dialogue was cringy, and her dialogue wasn't much better, but at least when she talked to other people besides Duke, she was a better character. I was not a fan of really any of it. I should have DNF'd it, but I was stubborn and I did not want to DNF another arc. So I pushed through. I ended up giving it 2 stars because like it's not a bad book. It's just a bad book to me. Like, other people are going to enjoy it. They're going to like it. They're going to find it cute, especially if you're younger. I'm too old for that type of dialogue. I'm too old for that type of juvenile banter. I'm glad it's done. And I can move on. That's the thing with arcs. You have to kind of like take a chance, especially arcs that are just sent to you and not ones that you requested. Like, all of the arcs in this vlog, because I think I'm only going to do the 4, were sent to me. I didn't request any of these, and they all sounded kind of like interesting. They were interesting enough for me to read them. I think only like 2 of them were something that I would go out of my way to read, which would have been the first 2. So what does that put our count at? What was it? I gave the first arc a 3-star, the second arc 5 stars. That was a really good. What I did after finishing The Faraway Inn, I went and read every other book. Well, not every other book. Every other book kind of set in that type of world by Sarah Beth Durst. So The Spell Shop and The Enchanted Greenhouse. And now I'm waiting for the 3rd book to come out. So that was a win. That was a big time win. Absolutely yes. This book I gave 2 stars. Would I check out Meg Schaefer's writing again? Maybe. I don't know if all of her characters are like a juvenile type, or I don't know. 2 stars. That's really all I have to say about this book anymore. But anyway, I'm washing my hands of it as of now, and I'm going to move on to the 4th arc. I really wanted to do 4 to 5 books for this vlog because I've got enough arcs to do that. But the thing is, I'm having such a hard time getting into the 4th book that I've been reading it. I've been attempting to read it for the past 10 plus days, and I've only gotten 20% of the way through the book. Now, is this a fault of the book itself, or the fact that I read the Crescent City series and now I'm reading the Zodiac Academy series? So I'm more focused on those books because I'm having a greater time with them, and those are more my style than this book that I'm currently reading, which I will tell you about. It's called Dog People. The book follows a cutie little dog, an older dog, which already I know is going to rip my heart out at the end, and I'm not mentally prepared for that. And his owner, one of his owners. And the premise of this book is the dog originally had 2 owners, this couple, but the woman in the relationship, the one who actually adopted the dog and wanted it, passes away. So we're seeing her boyfriend's grief and him trying to live his day-to-day life now that she's gone. From what I've gathered, it wasn't a sudden death. It sounds like she was sick because she made her dog promise that after she was gone, the dog was going to help her boyfriend find love again, which heartbreaking concept. Horribly heartbreaking concept. This entire book, I feel like if I let it, will probably destroy me because the dog is an older dog. So not only do we have human grief because of the loss of his girlfriend, we will probably have animal grief, which I am a bleeding heart, and I do not think I am mentally okay enough to read that, especially because I love my little cat more than anything in the entire world, and I will equate anything happening to that dog happening to my cat, if that makes sense. So I don't know if the reason I have not wished to read this book is because I also have a boyfriend. And if something were to happen to my cat or my boyfriend and my boyfriend like I don't know. I wouldn't even know what I would do. So like reading a book about it, like even the thought, oh, I'm getting red. even the thought is like, no, I don't want, So I'm going to continue to read the book, but I'm not going to try to hurry and rush through it. Also, I don't think that would be fair to the book itself, because I want to give this book a fair chance. So I'm just going to leave this vlog with the 3 books that I read prior: Only Spell Deep, The Faraway Inn, and The Book Witch. I hope you give some of these books a shot. I hope you enjoy some of these books if you do give them a shot. And if this is something that's interesting, I've got like 4 more arcs right now, to be honest. So I get them periodically. Thank you so much for sticking around and hanging out while I go through these new releases. I hope you check them out. If you do read them, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I'm curious if it's just me that had a certain time with books. Drop some comments below, maybe like and subscribe, and I hope you guys all have a great day.